much money would you? I have two questions. How much money would you like? Could you need?
I put a ton, but I would say like right now, if I could get $100,000 for the next year, it would make my life so much easier.
So if I were an investor and had $200,000 to invest this year, why would I invest $100,000 in this company? What benefit would I get?
Right. So if you're a company, if you're a guy,
right.
You would mostly just get to like feel good about what you're doing.
Right.
As a company, obviously, then you can be super involved with your name on the bus, with private rides for your company, for your staff, for your family. So all those sort of.
Adam, by the way, it's not that you can't invest and get equity. It's a complete it's a donation.
Right.
You can take a tax deduction.
Right.
Right.
You
So
understand
I'm asking. So the tax deduction, I guess, is the benefit.
Yeah, definitely has been. Which is why we decided to go nonprofit, because we initially started out as an S corporation with the idea of like we're going to prove that you don't have to be a nonprofit to do good, and there are companies. There's a classification called a B corporation, which is a benefit corporation, which would have been a way to go. We didn't sort of go that way. You're still basically just a regular S corporation, but you basically have this like stamp on you that's like we do good and we're green and we recycle and all that. There's actually not even a benefit to the company for that. So for us, we thought we would do as a nonprofit because there would be the incentive for tax write-offs and all that, and it just makes sense that it seems like we're a nonprofit. So I think people were just confused that we weren't. Yeah.
How did you come up with those price points for the corporate rides and the birthday rides and the per person ride, and then also how much money, what profit are you making on those rides?
So we came up with those prices based on what it does cost us to run the rides. And off the top of my head, and I can definitely send you guys actual numbers of this, but it's if we renting a bus is $400 for 5 hours, and then it's $200. I pay my staff $200 to host the ride, and that number it doesn't seem high to me actually, because I know like PAs get paid that, but that number has to sort of stay high because you have to have the right staff. It can't just be someone that can like shuffle people. It's like high energy. You got to bring the energy on the bus. So $400 for the bus, $200 for staff, and then depending on, so lunch isn't really included in those numbers because I guess in the community ride it is, but on that corporate ride $16.50, so it'd be $400 and $200. Sometimes I have an assistant, so that's $100. So you're looking at $700, and the rest is profit, but not. The rest of it goes to like gas and and running and like my salary, which is like tiny. So
is that $200 for total for the day for all staff or per?
So $200 for the host and $100 for the assistant.
Okay, got it. So
yeah.
You said that you could market more and that you would be able to get more customers, but that you can't fulfill those if each of those customers would pay even the current pricing. They would support themselves. How can you not fulfill it at the same time? You know what I mean? Is there operations costs that scale into that the $16.50 per customer wouldn't cover?
No, then we're talking about people, so then it's like my time to hire, because right now I have, honestly right now I have two hosts that are what I consider quality, like are going to give the best experience, and then myself, so 3 really. So if I had, for example, last week was the first time we had a ride every day last week. And I didn't have staff to do that. And so we were having to run around. So it's finding that staff, and so then it's just my time of actually hiring that staff is what I'm running into right now.
So it's more of an operations issue as it relates to that. But
yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And I know for sure the $16.50, what's frustrating, and this is just me being, a solo entrepreneur by myself, is that I know, market research, it needs to be $2,500. And I know there's got to be companies that have turned us down because it is cheaper. And they're like, well, it must not be very good. And I'm very aware of that. But because I've had clientele that have been such return customers, I've been nervous to be like, oh, and now it's $2,500.
Have you tested that price? Has anyone said no, it's too expensive?
I have not tested that price. What is frustrating is we have a partnership with a company in Boston, and they are called Team Bonding, and they basically, we sort of gave them the rights to this model. They give us a percentage anytime they run it, and they're a huge team building company, and so everything they do, $2,500 is low on their end, so they put on these massive team building events. but they sell it for $2,500
Wait,
in Boston.
wait, so you own the rights to this? What stops anyone else from just opening up another like Do Good Bus-esque company?
Nothing. You can't actually trademark an idea.
I know, yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. So why does this company in Boston like even pay you?
Because they were nice and they reached out and said, hey, we want, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I was gonna say like, why don't you just license this idea to like a ton of other people, but then you don't have anything.
Right, and you do because there is benefit in like a whole package. Like we've gone through and found out the hard parts and the easy parts, and so and just all of it. Even like the logo, no big deal. I guess they can make their own logo, but like because we have this thing that we could give someone, like here's how you run it. That's worth it to somebody. But I'm not comfortable selling that because the model doesn't work. As a business, it works because it's awesome and people love it, but it doesn't sustain itself to where I can pay myself.
Rob, before they may have more questions, but we only have a little bit of time. Do you want to explain the project, or are you going to do that after?
One, I think we can go a little longer, yes?
No, you can't actually park as a testing. You actually don't have extra time.
Gotcha, okay. So, yes.
We should get to have at least explain so they can ask questions about that specifically versus the actual organization.
Right. It's been implied, I think, so far. You want to state it a little more directly as to what you're looking for from these teams of consultants?
Yeah, so I think like I mentioned, the funding thing, and I think for us, doing the research of the market research of what's out there. So I know it a little bit, but to be honest, haven't done a full research of what other team building companies are offering since, it's been 3 years. So that's changed, I imagine. So researching that, and then also I think just finding creative ways with partnerships to have funding in a way that, and I think the challenge there with partnerships is that a corporation already has a budget, a marketing budget, where if they wanted to put their name on the side of my bus, they can't write that off. They have to write that off as a marketing expense. So it's not an incentive for them to be like, you get a $100,000 tax write-off. And like, well, we already would have because it's marketing. Which is why we started not as a nonprofit, because I knew corporations in particular wouldn't. So, unfortunately, I don't have, if I had the perfect answer, y'all, I wouldn't be here. If I knew exactly what I needed. I'm in a position where it's successful and a lot of people want it, and I'm not doing any marketing and people are coming to me. So that's unheard of. That doesn't happen in business necessarily until until everybody knows who you are. So I think I'm running into that. Is it going to be that I have to just raise prices and it has to be $3,000, and if nobody wants it for $3,000, then it just isn't going to work, and that's fine. I would like to do that test and find out. So I know that's still pretty open-ended.
Can someone articulate the problem for the class? What is the specific problem? Yeah.
Basically, this business model that you have, taking these people on these trips to do community service, doesn't sustain itself because there's not enough money being brought in. Right. So you basically want enough money to sustain the company that you've already developed, right, and you want strategies from us to pursue them.
Yep. See?
Bingo.
Exactly, and I hopefully I've given you sort of what we've tried. We haven't tried a big fundraiser because I don't have the wherewithal. I'm a person. We haven't done that, and I haven't gone after big funding. I haven't done any grants because I've done a lot of research on that. And if you're not big enough, they say kind of the rule is if you're not big enough to hire a grant writer, then you're not ready to apply for grants.
So what are we not going to do immediately?
Answer your
Right.
And our time frame is 3 weeks. Okay. I think November 9th is a Monday or Tuesday.
We have a ride next Saturday. It's Halloween, and you guys are all welcome. You guys can hop on the bus for free if you want to see what it's all about. You do have to wear a costume.
On Saturday Halloween?
Saturday, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought Sunday.
Yeah.
Are you still in contact?
No, next Saturday.
Yes.
Okay. So do still do things with?
No, they don't support it officially. They definitely are still supportive, but no, they don't officially support it. And which is good. We still are sort of too connected to them, where people think it's their bus.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many people could you fit on a bus? And what happened to that bus that you did yourself?
Still have it's running right now.
So do you guys use like several different buses?
Yeah, so we do. Well, right now we try to use that bus as much as we can because
Yeah,
it's
'cause you don't
it's
pay.
the experience, and and I'm only paying the driver. But it seats 35, 38 if you wanted to be like real friendly. But we just did it like last week. We did a ride that had 2 buses. We also did a ride that had 3 buses, and so we use our bus and then rent 2 school buses to do that.
And were those corporate rides or birthday
Yeah,
rides?
corporate
rides?
rides.
So are they paying for each bus
Yeah, so that flat fee is for each bus.
for like 35 people?
Yeah, and it's up to 35 people, so they can have the whole bus with 10 people on it, and it's the same price.
Mhm.
Which is a model that we had to work on as well, because we used to charge per person,
Uh-huh.
and we would get screwed every time because
Yeah.
they'd say like we're gonna have 40 people, and then 10 would show up, and they would like write me back on the invoice, hey, only 10 showed up. I'm like, great, it's the same work. So that's why we started with the flat fee, and then a per person for lunch, for beer and wine, for all those things on the top of that.
You're clearly very busy, and we're probably going to have things we want to know from
Right.
you. So we're not going to bombard you, but what would be the best way to be in contact with you? And
Email
let's say
probably.
once a week or something.
Yeah,
like
I mean, I'm open. You can email me whenever you want. I'm pretty good on that with email. And I could call in if you wanted to like have a conference call, and just if you have lots of questions.
Okay.
But yeah, email is easy. And like I said, if you want to come ride the bus, I think that's the best way to see it. You're welcome to do that on Halloween.
Where does that
Should be
bus
fun.
leave from on Halloween?
It picks up at Universal City Metro parking lot.
Okay.
So
That would be cool if someone from some of the teams did that to see.
Yeah, and is it known in advance where you go? Is that part of the fun? Is this
no,
a
they don't
surprise?
know. So they all you would know is the category, and the category for Halloween is working with kids.
Cool.